Good day, everyone. We're going to do a real-life installation of this, it's Pentair, I believe is how you say it properly. This is a 20-inch filter. Someone called them the Big Blue two-stage filter. So, yeah, we're going to install this, and it will be an interesting video, I think. So let's get at it. Let's take off the housings here. They just unscrew. There is a wrench that's designed for these. It does not come with the wrench to undo these filters. But we'll get into that later. Let's just get these off. Okay, so this is the top of the unit here. The first thing that you're going to have to determine where you're going in with your pipe, with the main supply, okay? So there's an inlet and an outlet. But in my situation, I need to come in this way, which currently is marked as outlet. So that's easy to resolve. You just need to undo all these and then spin it around, and then we can mount it up and away we go.
Okay, so with this Pentair filter, Pentair. Anyway, so basically, this is my house. Let's say this is the ceiling here. So my main supply comes in from the left, and it goes down currently into I'm on a well, so this is a green sand filter. So it goes like that. And so basically, without getting too complicated here, I don't have any room out here to put this two-stage filter, just the way the house is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the some pipe out here and here. And then what I'm going to do is take a pipe, come over here, and say this is my filter system. So I have to come out and have my inlet here, just like that. And then once I get that set up, I have to go back because I made that cut there. Then I have to get back and put the pipe back into here. So that makes the connection. So this will be gone. Now, in theory, this is really all you need to do. Just have it like that. But people like to do some add-ons here, and I think some are worthwhile. So basically, it's a good idea to put a valve here and a valve on this side. So you can shut off all the water to the system in case there's some issue, like something breaks, something cracks, something leaks. But, having said that, if you're going to do that, then you might as well put in a bypass also. So what we'll do is we'll solder in a T here, and we'll come across like this with the pipe. And I'll put in another valve right in the middle here, or wherever, it doesn't have to be there. And we'll hook it in here. And that way you can shut this all off, and if for some reason you're having a big issue with your filters here, then you can just bypass everything and you still have water to your house. So that's what I would recommend. And some people, they believe that they should put pressure gauges in. You've probably watched other videos, I'm guessing. You're not just going to watch one video and do a project like this. A lot of people will say you need to put pressure gauges here, you know, on each side. I don't think you need to do that. That's something I'll explain later.
All right, so let's get at her. Let's get this thing flipped around. So there you go. Everything switched around. All right, so let's get this marked up properly. So this is our in, and this is now our out. I don't really need to know that, but in the future, someone else is probably going to need to know that. All right, there's many different ways to mount this. I guess use a nice little piece of plywood or something. I'm really not so concerned about how this looks down here. But I am going to have to put on a 2x4, and I kind of determined probably about right there should be good. And you want to drill the screws into studs here. If you're using plywood, same idea. Find the stud. I mean, I can see mine because half my wall's missing down below there, so I think what I'll do, I'm just start one in here. Yep. Alright, that went into the 2x4. I do have a little level here.
So that's not going anywhere, and what I'm also going to do, if I can reach up in there, I'm going to put this backboard on there too. Just will add a little bit more stability. I mean, I can do this. If you have a sheet of plywood, yeah, you're all good to go, but I don't in this case, so put that up in there. Yep, that got her. Don't drill your hand.
Now it looks like these bolt things, just so you know, they're 13 millimeter. So, seems quite heavy too, by the way. Surprised I haven't dropped it yet. Alright, voila. Okay, so I have everything sort of roughed in. I measured it out. I put it all together. It's not soldered yet or anything like that. It's just fitted together to how it should be about when I start soldering it. So this was my whole idea here. So this is the main pipe. Water comes in to my house. So I'm going to put an elbow in there when I go to finalize everything. So that runs along the top. And then I come around here. Another elbow in there. And then we'll get back to this valve here. Then I come down here, this valve, and that's the in for this unit. And one of the things I do, just me, how I do things, like I make all my taps go the same way. So right now this tap is off. Just imagine it, if it's straight up and down, it's off, sort of like it's cut off. And then I have them all set up, all my taps, so that when I turn them to on, the handle points in the direction of water flow. I just do that. I just like to keep things looking sort of consistent. So then up here, this is the bypass I was telling you about. This is how it turned out looking on mine. So normally this would be in the off position. And then that comes around because you're bypassing this unit. Then I'll put an elbow, attach it to here. So basically when you go to service the unit, you turn this one off, turn this one off, and then you can, get the canisters off if you need to change the filters. So you're all sort of set up, but we'll do some soldering. I'll show you a tiny bit. But this is the big thing where people get hung up on here. They don't understand, how do I make this connection here? So this is like a 1-inch brass fitting that allows a 3/4 inch fitting to screw into it. So you need the brass one and this one. And you don't want to solder this while it's on this plastic housing. So what we can do, I'm going to take this pipe off and we're going to have to put some stuff on the threads. We'll get it all set up for you, show you how to do that. And that's really the biggest obstacle. So yeah, I'll disassemble it and then we'll put it all back together properly. Okay, so this is that 1-inch brass fitting that needs to go right into the housing of the filter system. And oddly, and I don't know why, just around where I live, I had a really hard time finding this, believe it or not. They never had them out anywhere. I finally had to go to an actual supply place, and they're like, oh yeah. But at the stores, couldn't find it. So, and then this is the 3/4 copper that screws into that. So what I'm going to do, now there's various types of Teflon tape, and I can't find my good stuff. I only have this really sort of thin stuff, but we'll just put more wraps on it, I guess. And so we're going to, I'm not sure yet how many I'm going to put on here. So let me make sure. So if you're screwing it in this way, we want to put the tape on in the same order, just rotating around. I haven't even counted. I don't know. I'm just going to put enough on that it feels like it has a bit of substance to it. Probably at least, I'm guessing 5-6 wraps or something like that. But this is feeling good. Man, I had some really good tape. I only had to put a few wraps on it, but not this stuff. Well, there, that decided it. Actually, I can take you over there. Okay, so just get this started in. And it feels like it's snugging in there nicely. Yeah, that's good. It was fitting in there actually quite well before. So before I put in the copper one, before I thread that one in, I'm going to do some soldering. And then it'll be the same procedure. We'll put some Teflon tape on it also and screw that in. But yeah, that's it's feeling good. It's not going to leak. So this is the one that's going to go into the fitting. I just put in the housing. This is the first initial pipe that comes off. So what I've done, which you have to do too, these pipes, they're really easy to cut. I'll show you how to cut one later if you've never cut one. But they also, when you cut them, there'll be a burr in here, and you need to get rid of all those. You don't want anything in the water flow that's going to disturb it. So there's different devices you can get, but you just go around like this, and it knocks out any stuff that was sticking out, any of the burrs. So make sure you do them all. Yeah, this side still needs a little bit. This is the only one I'm going to show you because it would just be like pretty boring to watch me do like however many joints. So I just want you to be aware that you have to clean these burrs out. And then the next thing, you have to get some of this, I guess you'd call this emery cloth. I don't know if it's what they call it on here. Yeah, it just says for plumbing or something. So, and this, you're gonna have to do this with every single joint. So on the outside of the pipes, let's get her on there. Just give them a little roughing up, just like that. That's good. These ones are pretty in good shape. So then, of course, the key, you have to do the inside of these. Now, I think you can get a device to do this much easier, but I don't have one. So I just use my finger. Just jam it in there. It works. So you're going to have to go around, do that to all your connections. Oh, actually, you know what? We can solder this right now. And you should use a little brush to put this stuff on. I'm going to go wash my hands right after I do this. I'll wear some rubber gloves when I'm kind of doing this off the cuff right here. So So would normally I get everything ready, but I'm not going to show you every solder thing I do. Oh, I only need to do one end. Because I don't think this stuff's too good for your skin. Maybe it's a good exfoliator. We could put this in little containers and sell it to people for $100 or something. Skin exfoliation. Okay, just slide that together. You can feel it seats. You should feel it. It stops. Okay, well, and how much solder do you need to do these? Well, usually like a good key is you're probably going to need at least the width of the pipe. So maybe just bend it over. Something like that. Oh, you should keep some water around in case you light something on fire. Which I still do have to go get I have a spray bottle I keep handy, but. So basically, you want to heat up the opposite side. I mean, you can generally heat around it, but when you think the temperature is up to, where it's ready to be soldered, keep the heat opposite of where you apply the solder. So we'll be sitting here like this. And then once that's solder, you just test it once in a while. As soon as it starts to go, you're good. So get it in there and then, take the heat off. We'll do some stuff when we do the taps. You have to be a little bit careful with that. And you should see this stuff, it'll start bubbling, and that's a good sign that it's probably heated up. The solder paste. I might have to get a different end on this torch. I don't think this is my right end on here, but. Alright, it's almost there. There. So don't touch it, it's hot. Yep, she all looks good. It's been a while since I've soldered, actually. I need to change that end on that torch so it's not proper. And so this now, it's still pretty hot. I'm gonna have to wait for a bit and then we'll screw this in to that brass fitting. I know the camera angle's not the best, but I do have a wrench. I'm just too lazy to go get it. Alright, that'll do. If the other one starts turning, you might need another wrench to hold it in place. I noticed mine started turning. So I'm going to follow up with, I have a proper wrench. Just to make sure this is in good. Okay, so I'm going to put on this tap here. Sanded in the inside. Sanded this up. And we just need to put a little bit of this paste on.
There, a little bit in the inside of the valve. Oh, I forgot to sand this one side.
Oh, and I took the handle off. The valve's in the open position. Just make sure I haven't messed this up. Yep. There, and I'm making sure that it's nice and parallel to the ground. Where's my other piece? Sanded this piece up. There. Okay, for doing these ball things, these ball valves, I have a damp or wet towel also. I might want to speed up cooling down the valve once I get it soldered. I also have my spray bottle here too, in case, you know, I could light something on fire, but that shouldn't happen. But for these valves, I want to heat up. This side's not going to matter, it's going to get hot anyway, but I'm going to start out here a tiny bit just to get the pipe heated up, and then I'm going to hit it with the flame sort of right near the seam here. You don't want to put the flame out on this part. You want to keep it out here. So let's go, we'll do her. See the paste is starting to melt, so there we go, it's just starting now. There we go. All right, we'll just let that sit, cool off. You don't want to get crazy and cool it off too fast, but this will definitely help though. I don't like getting those valves, you know, they get so hot. I'm surprised they even last. All right, break time. Okay, so I have the assembly all ready to go. Everything's sanded, and I have the acid paste or flux in all the joints. So after I finish this, then there's only 2 more pipes I need to attach, and that's when I'm going to cut into the house line for the in and the out. So 2 pipes and 4 joints after this is done, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, okay, so let's get at it. Oh, I'm using a wet cloth over here where that valve is. There's an elbow just past it, so this will help keep the valve cool. And I'll probably move it up to that other valve, and then I'll also do this one over here. I'll put a wet cloth as required. Okay, so the next step, you can probably see over there, I polished up a few spots that I'm probably going to cut out. Have the two lines to hook up still, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. This stuff always causes me anxiety, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know. But, yeah, it'll work out. Okay, I'm getting there. So this is my main water feed coming in, so I have to do 2 cuts here, one up there. And hopefully this thing doesn't break. You can see it. This is like a small pipe cutter. I've been using my nice big one, which is very easy to use. But, gonna have to use this one, and hopefully the thing doesn't break halfway through. But I guess I could always use a hacksaw. But anyways, I marked out where my lines are gonna go in and out, so let's give this a try. Oh, I have the water off to the house. That's like a good idea. And I opened up a tap upstairs and a tap downstairs. Still gonna be water that comes out of here. Hopefully not too much. Because I can't put a bucket under here. There's nowhere to. Just gonna have to let her go. Then remember to come back, even though you're cutting this is old pipe. Still gonna put a burr in there. You want to clean that out. I don't know if I've showed you. I think I've shown that, maybe not, but I'll show you. So I guess what I've learned today is that get a proper deburring tool, because this does not work very well. And as always, you have to clean this up. Okay, so I have to cut a little bit off the end of this pipe. And if you're wondering how I figure that out, oftentimes it's really easy. Take off this elbow, set it up here, bring your pipe up, and it goes in about, up to this little ridge here. So that one I'm going to cut there, clean it up. This top one, I can figure that one out too. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera, cut these ends off, and do a little bit more soldering. And then soon we'll be ready to test, I hope. So everything is actually hooked up. Well, I was quite fortunate. I did not have any leaks in any of my solder joints. So all is well. Oh, this is the wrench for the filter. You have to buy this separate. You can get that on the Amazon. The only issue that I have, which is a small thing at the moment, it's a small problem that requires a lot of work to correct. And this is my advice if you're doing this. This brass fitting, this is the 1" to 3/4 brass fitting that goes in the housing, and then this is the 3/4 inch copper pipe adapter. Use more Teflon tape on these, and as a matter of fact, I would probably say get some of that joint compound for threads. Comes in a bottle. Goop it up good, screw them in good, because I have a very minor leak on this. and it takes quite a while for the water droplet to form, but nonetheless, in order to fix that requires a lot of work. You gotta start cutting out pipe and stuff, and not just in one spot, because it's a solid unit, right? And so that's my only advice. Don't skimp out on the Teflon tape, and as I said, maybe use some joint compound, because yeah, this is the last thing I thought that was actually going to leak. I was more concerned about my soldering joints because there were so many of them. But here you go, yeah. But anyways, the system's up and running. All is well. Good day, everyone. As you can see, this upper pipe here, this is my water intake, or the inflow into my filter system. And so unfortunately, when you work with copper, if there is a leak, it turns into a bit of a nightmare, because what I found, I have a little bit of a leak here. I guess I did not put enough Teflon tape on here, but it presents a big problem because you can't just simply unscrew this at this point and redo it. You need to actually start cutting pipe out. I came up with a really good idea, because normally in order to fix something like this, both sides actually have a very small leak. And normally in order to fix this, you'd have to cut the pipe. This is the inside, the inlet is leaking a tiny bit on the threads, just like here. So you'd have to cut here, here, and here, because you have to move the whole thing as a unit. You can't just unscrew this and it's not going to work out, because you're going to put too much pressure on things. So you have to cut some pipe out. But I devised a way that I'm only going to have to cut here on this side, and then one cut on the other side, which I'll show you. So yeah, so let's get at it. No hesitation, and the reason I do these videos is because so you can avoid this situation. I knew there was a possibility this would happen, but I'm only going to have to fix two joints rather than 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's get at her. The first thing to do, go turn the water off to your house. Now I'm fortunate because I have this installed, and since my issue is right in here, I can simply make sure my bypass is off, and the intake, this is the inflow on this side, so we'll turn that off. And then I'm going to leave this open for a bit. That doesn't actually matter. This one doesn't matter actually, but we're going to leave that like that for now. And I'm going to turn on a cold water tap down here. So all I'm doing is depressurizing the system. So the water started up. You probably could hear it, and it's slowing down now. So just gonna let that run for a minute. And okay, so let's make our first cut. It's gonna be right here. Probably get a little bit of water coming out, but not too much. As I said, if you don't do it this way, you're gonna have to cut this and the 3 other spots. If you don't do it the way I'm showing you, which you're gonna have to watch the video to find out how this works. So normally I just have to cut it here and on the other side here. Otherwise you have to cut here, 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 and here. So we're going from 4 cuts to 2, and it should work. So let's get this on here. Normally I'd use a bigger pipe cutter. This looks like a good spot. I can turn this like this now. Get it out of the way. Okay, this will work out good. I won't even have to remove, I thought I might have to remove this, but there's enough flex. But you see what I mean, you can't pull this apart, but there's enough flex where I can move it over here and unscrew this and get it out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same cut on the other side, okay? Alright, we're looking good here. So one thing, don't forget to deburr the inside of these pipes. I have a little thing on here on my drill.
Which will accomplish that. I can't really use my other thing that well in here.
All we need to do now, let's take this one off. I'll show you how to do one side, and the other side will be the same idea, okay? Now, I don't have a wrench that's big enough to fit on this, so I'm just using these adjustable ones here. Okay, we have her off. Okay, so as I said, these threads were leaking and these threads were leaking, so let's separate this. Might get my wrench here. This part you want pointing towards you, because as it comes over and overlaps, I'm just going to break this off just so you can see. So this would be the end that's sticking out, so you want that to go with it, with the rotation. It's very important. So start with it pointing towards you, and let's put a good amount of tape on this. Eight. Now, one thing to be understood, this Teflon tape comes in different thicknesses. This stuff is sort of medium. There's thicker stuff and there's much thinner stuff. If you have the really thin stuff, you're going to have to do more than I just demonstrated. The other thing that I'm going to do this time, for this initial connection, I found some of this, what's called pipe thread stuff. This is probably like really old and expired, but at the same time, what the heck? I'm going to put a little dab in here and just work that around the thread. I don't know if that's going to help or be... I hope it helps. I'll be positive. I hope this helps. But everything seems good in there. And let's get this put back together. So this is going to turn in this way. So again, so start with the tape facing you, coming towards you. It's going to turn this way. It's like counterintuitive almost, but so 8, 9, maybe 10. This goopy stuff, I'm going to go put some on the inside threads of the housing. Okay, so this is just for demo. These pieces. This is just a straight inline connector to connect two pipes together. So normally, and you won't, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but they put little dents in here, or protrusions that come to the other side, so the pipe can only go in so far. So what I've done, now if you have like one of those Dremel tools with a nice little sanding rock thing or whatever, or a rasp, what you need to do is go in and you basically knock off these, because they protrude in here. That makes the pipe go halfway. So get in there, do some work, get those out, follow it up with a little bit of emery cloth, get in there really good, and make sure you get rid of that little bump thing. Because what we can do at this point, as the demo, I did some work on this ahead of time, so you didn't have to spend a whole bunch of time watching me. But so now I can slide this on all the way on, and then once I get this all the way on, then I'll slide it back out 50%, and that will cover the seam on the pipe. So that's how we're getting away with doing it like this. So and again, let's go back to here. So we're going to prep this to solder, and don't forget, you have to clean these up, roughen them up. And I think we're pretty good. We're not going to have a water issue because the water's off. It's drained out really well. There's nothing really coming out of here. Maybe I'll take a paper towel or something and dry inside there, but we're looking really good. Let's get that. I'm just going to leave that sit there for a minute. Then, of course, don't forget to sand up the part that's going to join. And of course, if you've prepped up the that joint already, we already did that. It's all good to go. Yeah, I think we're going to be fine there. Water's just terrible. If you have water getting into when you're trying to solder, bad news. I have this. You have to use some of this lead-free soldering paste. So it's just like I don't know, they call it flux or whatever. But you need to put some on here. It just basically, as far as bonding goes, it prevents, like, when you heat stuff up, you get this corrosion instantly. So it's going to help that. So put some on there, and then do the inside of this, your joint that you're going to put on. So I'm just rubbing the paste in there. And like I was telling you, since we took out that middle nub, and then you're going to have to eyeball it, or else you can mark it. I kind of know how far it needs to go, so it's not a big deal. So we'll slide this on. There. And let's get this turned back in. So I'll show you this side. It's the same procedure on the other side, just so we don't waste a whole bunch of time. Okay, she's tightening up good. So get my wrench. I think I can do one more, folks. All right, that looks pretty straight. And I'm just going to leave this like this until I get the other side ready. It's going to pull over. Like you can see there's a gap there, but it's going to pull over, and then, well, I think. All right. I'm going to put some more lube on there. A little more paste. Okay, so I want to go about, about like a 1/2 inch in. There we go. I'm not going to solder that yet. I am going to get the other side ready because when it's all together, it will be fully compressed. So let's get that going. Okay, I have both sides ready to be soldered. So let's get at that. They're fitting together nice. Again, put that sleeve on, approximately 50% on each side, and you should be good to go. Clean that off a tiny bit. I got a little crazy there, but yeah, that's fine. Do the same thing on the other side here. Really, for each joint, just so you know, you should really only be using about that much solder. Basically, like the it's 3/4 inch, yeah. But I don't know, something looked a little bit goofy there. I just gave her a bit more. It happens. So basically, we're done here. I'll get the filters put back on, and we'll give it a test. Alright. We have the housings on, so I guess the big test is coming up here. I don't feel anything there. These joints are good, the ones we soldered. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm glad I took a day just to think about it. Otherwise, as I said, in order to do this, I mean, if I didn't realize you could sort of remount those little marks in there that prevent it from sliding right onto the pipe, that was the lifesaver. So otherwise, you'd have to cut this, and here. So all is good. Oh, let's get the water pressured up here. Silly me. I took all the air out of this. I forgot to turn the water back on. Now we're going to have to check again. I don't see anything. Let's get this going to the house. Make sure this joint is not leaking. Okay, so everything's going now. I don't see any leaks. So I guess that was successful. Hope this was helpful. Please like, subscribe, and give me a comment down below if you so choose. Anyways, take care everyone. Have a great day.